Hi, everyone. Dr. Eric Westman here. And of course, at my channel, I review and debunk nutritional misinformation online. But every now and then, I get to interview the movers and shakers in the nutritional space well, I perceive who are the movers and shakers. And Bella, welcome to the interview.
Thank you so much for having me, Dr. Westman. It's an honor.
So those who know you as Steak and Butter Gal, and caught my attention a few years ago, and have been watching and doing reacts videos from time to time. I'm very curious to talk to you, and for those who don't know who you are, how did you get into this space? How about a little background, and then you have to include the piano playing. That's awesome.
Oh, thank you. Well, background on how I even discovered a carnivore lifestyle was because I was struggling with my health to begin with. And I do blame it on the vegan diet that I tried to heal myself with. And I did a vegan diet for 6 years. So for 6 years, I was waiting, hoping that I guess magically my health would get better and my skin issues would go away, but it just never did. And it got worse. My health also got worse to the point where I lost my period completely. So, thanks to a vegan diet, I stumbled across a carnivore diet. And a lot of people, when they hear this story on paper, it just sounds insane. Because how can somebody go from a vegan diet eating only plants to only eating meat on a carnivore diet? And a lot of people forget that I actually tried a standard American diet for my whole life growing up already, so I already ruled that out. I think that actually caused my cystic acne and my psoriasis and eczema. So that's why I moved to that vegan diet and became more health and diet conscious, um, to try to heal myself. But because the vegan diet actually made everything worse after 6 years of being on it, I decided to really commit to a carnivore diet because it really was the last resort for me. I was desperate to heal the skin, and I was performing a lot of concerts. Every single week, I was on stage, and I was a pianist, studying to be a classical pianist, and during this time when I was making the switch from veganism to carnivore was when I was studying at Juilliard in New York, and it was just a very competitive, busy time. As a student for anyone, you're going to lectures, you're practicing 8 hours a day, then you're being on stage performing, and then you do it all over again every week. And so I was really feeling the toll on my mental health and also on my capability to perform, to be a performer. Because I was having memory slips on stage more and more as a vegan, and I was very confused, like, "How is this possible?" Because when I go online and I learn from these vegans who are praising this lifestyle as literally the best diet in the world, you're gonna save the planet, you're also gonna save yourself, I was getting memory slips. So what the heck was happening? But for me, the real
Well,
wake-up call
uh,
was when I lost my period. Yes.
well, yeah, may I interject? Why didn't you, like most, just go to the doctor and get put on medicines? And often it is the last,
Ah,
when the period goes away, or you can't perform or do your job right, you
yeah.
go to the doctor, they give you medicine, and they don't even suspect the vegan diet to have done it. Why didn't you do that?
That's a good question. I think when I lost my period, that was my wake-up call to finally consider doctors. Um, and I still remember the call that I had with my mom because that's when I was already panicking. I was like, "How am I gonna have kids one day?" Which is one of my biggest dreams is to be a mom. Like, how am I gonna have kids if I don't even have my period? And so that's when I finally told my mom that I was struggling, no more period, and she was the one that really forced me to go to the doctor. And she was very concerned. So I booked that doctor's appointment to actually get a full complete lab panel to just see how my body and my health was. And so it was after getting the results of my blood work with this doctor in New York that she was the one that sat me down and she asked me questions about like, "So what are you eating?" She actually asked me about my diet. And I said I was on a vegan diet. Yeah, and so she's the one who said, "You either supplement if you insist on staying vegan, or you eat some animal foods," okay? And so, thanks to her, I opened up my mind to the possibility of eating meat or animal foods or eggs again. And so I went online and that is what I searched, vegans eating meat again, because I was just so curious to see if there was anyone out there. I didn't even think of searching anything like that until that day. And so when I searched vegans eating meat again, it showed up vegans going carnivore that day. And I found people like Kelly Hogan. I found people like, at the time, Azra Conlu and Kasumi Chris. So these two women, they were Asian and they were sharing their story of going from vegan to carnivore themselves. And this is like 6.5, 7 years ago now. And so thanks to these two women specifically, it gave me the courage that I needed to just go carnivore myself.
Fascinating. And then, how fast did you notice a change in how you felt?
Man, when you eat nothing but fruits and vegetables day in and day out for 6 years, that first bite of any animal food is really quite unreal. My first bite was eggs scrambled in Kerrygold butter, and I still remember that first bite of scrambled egg as if I suddenly went from seeing life in black and white to color. It was in that moment of just eating eggs. The first bite, I felt like I was coming back to life. And it could have just been the explosion of the flavor, that I was tasting for the first time, but, I couldn't stop eating butter, okay? So that's the biggest thing that I still remember is that first bite of Kerrygold and eggs, the butter and the fat is what woke me up, and it awakened this craving and this insatiable appetite for more fat, and it had to be butter for some reason. So all I could think about was, "Man, I could really just eat more of that scrambled egg cooked in butter because, man, that butter flavor was so good."
Then
To the
where did the
point. Yeah.
steak come in?
Oh,
Steak and butter, yeah.
yes. So, well, I started with scrambled eggs cooked in Kerrygold butter because I was scared to eat meat.
Sure.
I heard
Yeah.
all of these horror stories, of vegans literally making you feel ashamed of eating meat. The way that they brainwash, I like to say, at least I felt like I was brainwashed by their beliefs. I was very ashamed and afraid to eat meat. Even
Mm.
handling raw meat and like seeing the blood, like I felt a little bit nauseous just looking at that. So I didn't choose to eat meat first. But after eating the scrambled eggs, I was like, this tastes so good. I feel so good. Let's move on to the meat. Ground beef was next. So I ate ground beef as my first meat, and it just tasted so good. Like, I couldn't believe how flavorful meat and animal foods could taste without any seasonings, any sauces. I was just really shocked. And then I started just combining, like, naturally ground beef, scrambled eggs, and butter. And then I moved on to real beef steaks, so ribeye, New York strips. I watched so many tutorials on how to even cook a steak properly. It was a total new world and a learning curve for me. And I have to say it was very exciting and I enjoyed every moment of being a carnivore because it just felt that good. I really do feel like I felt better the day I went carnivore because I was living like a zombie before it.
And, that's not surprising to me. People tell me that the first day their hunger is gone, they're not craving the same things, and, I wasn't expecting the first bite. That's a good response. How do you notice the change? The first bite, I'll usually say, it may take a day or 2 for the hunger to go on and the cravings, but,
Sure.
I can understand that, and I suppose egg and butter gal doesn't have the same ring to it.
Yeah, steak.
How did all this all come about? Yeah, the story of the podcast or the YouTube channel and
It it felt like it was all meant to be because at no point of my life did I ever even imagine or think that I would be putting myself on social media, much less like making my life surrounded by it.
I know exactly.
Yeah. So of course you can relate. Yes. Exactly, and it's truly a calling and it's a blessing that we get to live out and help people through the internet, which is really such a gift. If you do it the right way and you are spreading truth and goodness and positivity, I feel like social media is a superpower. But I I grew up thinking that I would just be a pianist. Like that's all I studied to be and that's what I wanted to be was a pianist. And so, it was all happening 2019 to 2020, the pandemic happening, everything shut off. Even my school switched to only online, and
Mm,
I was trying to finish my master's degree at Juilliard. So, it was very different. Year 1 to year 2, totally different type of student life. Everything was online. I was trapped in my teeny tiny New York apartment and no more concerts, obviously, no more even going outside and
mm,
being a pianist out in the real world. So instead of just practicing 8 to 10 hours in my apartment, I was like, let's do something else with my time. It's not like I'm going to perform next week or next month or maybe even in the next half year, who knows. So I decided to shift my focus to sharing my carnivore journey because I, at that time, was so, so impressed with all of the benefits I was feeling. It was just like the perfect timing. I couldn't shut up about it. So I decided to share my carnivore healing journey on Instagram first because I already felt very welcome there. And this is 6.5 years ago. The carnivore community on Instagram back then versus now is quite different in that
yeah.
back then it was a very teeny tiny tight-knit little group online. It was just a little pocket of the internet. And so once you're in it, everybody kind of knows each other. And I just felt so supported by the carnivore women. And so I was like, wow, I literally watch everybody's videos. Why don't I start posting some things? And so that's really how it started was just an Instagram food diary or a healing journey for myself and for the community to follow along. And I think it really sparked a lot of interest by the community because I think I was one of the younger ones to share 7 years ago. And they were so supportive and uplifting, and they wanted more. They were like, Bella, we want to see more videos. We want longer videos. Can you do a YouTube channel for us? And I did. And that's how YouTube and Instagram kind of started around the same time. And thanks to the YouTube community, they were like, we would love more support. Is there any way we could maybe like gather together in a community setting? So I started the Steak and Butter Gang. And I really think it was the timing. Everybody was stuck at home. Everybody was looking for connection in a way. And so it just worked out to happen all at once. And I've continued it ever since.
So for those who aren't familiar with you and your YouTube channel, it's fantastic. And really, do you only eat steak and butter?
Now I don't. Now I've opened up my variety. So
Like you
year
did
one,
for
I
a while.
was exactly. Yeah. I was doing it for the entirety of my deep healing journey, which was year one, year two. I would say
Mm,
pretty much just steak, butter, eggs. Eggs kept my carnivore
okay.
diet cheaper as a student. Yeah. So if I, replaced half a pound of the beef that I potentially would have eaten with eggs, it did cut the cost down. But it was predominantly steak and butter. Therefore, I just in the moment I was like, what should I call my handle? Steak and butter are what I've been changing my life with at the moment, and I'm obsessed with these 2 foods. Let's just call it steak and butter gal, and that's how it kind of came to be. I just chose the 2 top foods that I was eating the most of as a newbie carnivore, and I went with it. But now I'm 6.5 years in, and I'm eating, like, raw cottage cheese at every meal now. I'm eating raw smoked Gouda. I'm eating a lot more dairy than I ever have, actually, but emphasis on the raw. I don't eat pasteurized dairy. It just doesn't work with me. I eat salmon. I love shrimp. I love chicken wings. So I've really opened up my variety because I've healed enough where I could.
Oh, but at first you felt you couldn't, or did you
At
test those other foods and
exactly.
gravitate
At
back?
first, I had histamine intolerance, so I had to keep my foods limited to really high quality beef, butter, eggs.
Yeah, thank you. Metabolically, as you deep dive into this, it's very similar to something that we've studied and used in our clinics at Duke for decades now, and that's a keto diet. And so when people are faced with, "Oh, the carnivore diet," actually, it's very familiar to me, and I passively would allow people not to eat vegetables, and definitely there's no fruit if you're doing the strict keto level.
Yeah.
So, I'm finding myself reassuring people that a carnivore diet is not as weird as you think, and to me, it's very metabolically very similar to something that I've seen also reverse, the psoriasis, eczema, well, but although our focus is mainly diabetes and obesity and metabolic syndrome, I'm sure you have clients or, people who've reversed those
Oh, yeah.
things too.
Many.
So,
Yeah.
the histamine reactions are very interesting, and I do get a subset of folks who come in that, I don't know if it's, is it amplified a little bit if you've switched from vegan, or is it, and now this is really, I'm asking you, a leader in the grassroots movement, to scan and learn and teach
Yeah.
me. I'm in academia, and we're supposed to know things first, right? No, not in this world. So I see people, especially if they have the bendy Ehlers, Danlos, mast cell, histamine. There's some kind of cluster there that, I wonder if you've seen enough. Well, how many people have you helped? Hundreds, thousands, millions, and what is your view on what's going on when someone has a health issue or switches to what you're doing or what you're helping them do?
Oh, wow. I'm honored to even be asked this by someone as knowledgeable and amazing as you. Like, firstly, I want to just share that so many people in my community, and yes, it's a very hardcore carnivore community, they always credit you. They always tell me, oh, I actually found out about this diet from Dr. Eric Westman. So you are making a huge difference with your videos that you post on YouTube. But I do have, like, the ability to just see so many people walk into the community, either needing to heal, extremely sick, or just wanting to lose weight. Like, I get the entire spectrum, and I think those who really need to heal, at least from what I've seen, and I personally live a very high-fat carnivore lifestyle, and I understand that my intensity of high fat is not for everyone. But specifically, I'm seeing when women come in with hormone issues, with autoimmune issues, with any type of health concerns that they are really trying to heal, the moment they start gradually upping the fat, and this doesn't require lowering the protein, but the moment they start upping the fat more and more and more and intentionally doing it consistently, it doesn't count if you're just doing 2 days in a row more fat and you're not seeing results. It doesn't work like that. But if you are consistently upping the fats and you're sticking to it, there is always some type of benefit in their healing needs. So, for specifically the women who need to heal hormonal issues like thyroid, they need to bring down the cortisol, or maybe they have PCOS, or they're trying to bring back the period, they have amenorrhea. Almost 100% of the time when they up the fats, it gets better. If not, it heals completely. And so that's the consistent thing. If there's anything to note that I've seen over the past 6 years now, it's higher fat or just upping the fat as a carnivore is incredibly effective at healing pretty much all things. But I wanna emphasize women because I work with mostly women. Not a lot of men come in here, mostly women. That's what I've noticed.
Well, and would you say you've helped hundreds, thousands,
I
mil?
Ooh, well, I think our tens of thousands maybe? I think so,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, that's phenomenal. I mean, that's more
Thank you.
patients than a doctor sees in years, right? So,
Mm.
or they might have a panel of a few thousand people they follow, but, and of course, the information we get, we trust people are telling the truth, right? And, I'm always just a little worried about the comments below and all that, but once you get into a group that's, really looking for support, I think we can see things pretty clearly, uh, on well, so I wonder
Yes.
in the, teaching that I do, which is ketovore or, allowing a little bit of vegetables, I see this kind of healing too. But I would love to do if there were, a magic wand of studies to do, there would be a carnivore versus, 20 gram total carb per day, 40 grams, 60 gram, and kind of see. But it seems to me the lower you go and then down to zero with carnivore, the kind of the stronger the dose is in terms of diabetes reversal, obesity, and even for hormonal things. Does that make sense? It,
It makes a lot of sense, and I would confirm that, at least based on my experience with working with so many people. And I am not within the community when you join, I am not the expert, nor am I the coach. I'm not really the leader besides just being the example on YouTube. I talk about a carnivore diet using my own experience, and that's the only way I feel comfortable too. I never try in my content to tell people, well, you have to do this or this is how you must eat. I just share with my own experience, and it does inspire a lot of people to dig deeper. And so that's why I'm very grateful for channels like yours, Dr. Westman, where you guys can provide the evidence and the studies and the knowledge and the medical support. But I'm constantly just sharing my story, my experience, my healing, and it actually has successfully gotten a lot of interest. And so I'm seeing these people who are looking for the serious support, they join the community. I do have a team of coaches in there, and they are the ones kind of giving guidance. If any of these community members need more guidance than coaching, that's when we recommend Dr. Chafee, Dr. Westman, maybe go to their groups, maybe hire, a keto-friendly doctor to give you a consultation. So we're always very aware of the needs of each member, and sometimes we recognize our support is not enough. So but when we notice somebody coming in, they used to be keto or keto, and we do have a lot of those, and then they go strict carnivore with us, most of the times, it's even better results. It's
yeah,
even
yeah.
more healing.
That's my impression too, and although it gets a little harder for them to deal with their family and friends sometimes, where they're
Exactly.
I just don't understand. I never was, um, worried about what other people thought I should eat. Of course, at one meeting we put on, there was a doctor who came locally. He said, where we were in Minnesota at the time, he said, "My mother hate to cook." We were all, "What?" In fact, she had the I Hate to Cook cookbook, volume 1 and volume 2, and actually they exist. And so he then leaves with, "My mother put hate into the food." So, I think my mother wasn't like that, but she didn't really get into it and, would do things like boil cow tongue on the stove for the afternoon, and, well, at the time, I didn't think it smell very great. But anyway, I think we learn a lot of that socialization. And there was People's Pharmacy is an NPR show. They did an interview with me and a journalist who tried carnivore, and she felt like she couldn't go out with her friends. And I wonder what your response would be on. So this aired just recently on NPR. I think it's on their podcast. So it's mid-September. But what would your response be to someone who would then say, so she's, mid-20s, but I can't go out with my friends to eat if all I do is eat meat. What's your
Uh,
advice there?
yeah. I actually have a lot of tips on this because I love, Asian cuisine. So let me share with you my Asian secrets on how you can actually eat out pretty easily with friends, with your loved ones, family, partner. Just go to any Chinese hot pot restaurant because that is truly a carnivore heaven. Hot pot,
Yeah.
if you don't like Chinese hot pot. go to Korean barbecue. Okay. Or if you don't like that, Japanese barbecue slash sashimi places, also carnivore heaven. And then the fourth one, not Asian, but Brazilian. Any Brazilian steakhouse, I promise you, your friends are going to love you for taking them there because it's really not just meat. It's so many other foods that they can enjoy with you. Meanwhile, you can be the one sticking to only meat. I think more and more these types of restaurants are becoming more popular with just everyone. And so there's more openings of these restaurants. So there's always a way to find an affordable Chinese hot pot. A lot of these are all you can eat, so even better. You can save money, eat a lot. Japanese sushi, sashimi, or Japanese yakiniku, and Korean barbecue. And then the fourth one, Brazilian, I think it's called churrascarias. All you can eat at these Brazilian steakhouses. So it's honestly perfect for social outings and for celebrations and eating out.
Yeah, that's great. And the idea that, well, there is, when you were vegan, though, there is this kind of push to proselytize, right?
Yes.
Or people are going to look at you. Why aren't you having this? Why aren't you having? What would be your response to that?
When I was vegan, I would say actually quite similar to how I respond as a carnivore now. I'm doing this for my health. I'm doing this to heal psoriasis and
And if you watched Sacred Cow and some other documentaries, it's actually good for the planet too. It's just it doesn't,
exactly.
not to that level of awareness in pop culture, I'm afraid. If you enjoyed this video, consider joining our YouTube membership for early access and exclusive live Q&As with me. Just click the join button below or support us with a PayPal in the description.